The following podcast is brought to you by Pro Wrestling Connect, Australia's newest choice for event management and brand development specializing in pro wrestling.
And now, the B Plus Wrestling Podcast. Watch global. Support local. It's the B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The moves.
B plus.
Check it out! Here we go! You wanna mess with us? Cause we're steady on the ground, steady on the ground. You wanna mess with us? Cause we're steady on the ground, steady on the ground.
Hello, B Plus Podcast listeners, and welcome to the Wrestling Landscape. The casual wrestling podcast, the informal wrestling podcast. I am your host, Lance Larson, and I am thrilled to be the newest member of the B Plus Podcast Network, and I'm so happy to be recording my inaugural episode with the B Plus. Greg, kind enough to reach out to me and recruit me to this new team member position in the B+. I'm very excited to be here. I'm a lot peppier than I usually am at the start of these episodes. If you have never listened to the Wrestling Landscape podcast, I don't blame you. And I wouldn't be surprised if you hadn't, as only 6 of you listen. That's a joke. But if you have any interest in checking out the archive, you can find that at the Wrestling Landscape Podcast on Apple Music, I guess it's called. I don't know. But every new episode going forward will be right here on the B Plus Podcasting Network. I usually have a drink in my hand while I record, whether it's coffee or tea in the morning or afternoon, or an alcoholic beverage in the evening. Today, I am drinking nothing, because I once again forgot to even bring my water in here. So this is going to be a thirsty episode. Anyway, each episode will cover a variety of topics. Usually each episode I like to cover one kind of cohesive theme. Today it's Japanese wrestling. And it's just the Japanese wrestling I've watched this past week. The episodes vary or as frequent or infrequent as I desire, because it's my podcast. If you don't like it, go listen to something else on the B+, because they are very regular with their episodes. My episodes will come as they come, because it's casual. It's a casual wrestling podcast. Anyway, I like to name my Japanese episodes Tokyo Dreamin'. Greg can name it whatever he would like, but we're going to jump right in. Okay. On Sunday, June 30th, All Japan had the last day of their Dynamite series. It concluded at Korakuen Hall, or Korakuen Hall. I don't know how to pronounce any of this shit. I am just a dumb American. But the top 2 matches on that card were title matches for All Japan, so we will start with the semi-main. It was Tsuji Ishikawa and Suwama retaining the World Tag Team titles over Pero and Odinson. This was a really fun tag team match. Ishikawa and Suwama, for those of you that don't know, are very much big boy wrestlers, both in their size and in their style of wrestling. They have been tag team champs for a while. Deservedly so, I think, because this match, like most of their tag title defenses, are very good. Like, I'm honestly trying to think of a bad tag team title defense from them. They are a team of evolution. Them together, they are known as Violent Giants. So, I really enjoyed this. Pero and Odinson, I had actually never seen before. And I hadn't heard the greatest things about their in-ring work, so I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't necessarily blown away by either of them. But I think they played their roles really well, and this was a really fun match. All 4 men were large and powerful, so it was very much that kind of match, if you can picture that. Ishikawa and Suwama, I think, are the perfect champs. And really, they should semi-main every big show All Japan has, as long as Ishikawa and Suwama can wrestle at the level they are. They are absolutely fantastic. Lots of chops, lariats, big knees from Ishikawa. And Suwama, for that matter. There was a kick-ass Tower of Doom in this match, where at the top of the Tower of Doom, instead of a superplex, it was a belly-to-belly overhead. Which was awesome. Really recommend this, and really any Violent Giants tag title defense, particularly against Okabayashi and whomever Okabayashi's partner was earlier in this year. I can't believe it's slipping my mind at the moment. But they had a couple of bouts there, and those were excellent. God, I wish I could remember Okabayashi's partner. Because they had 2 matches, one in Big Japan, one in All Japan. Because Okabayashi and his partner were from All Japan. It was Sekimoto. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. It was Daisuke Sekimoto and Yuji Okabayashi teaming up against the Violent Giants. Man, those 2 tag matches were kick-ass. They were earlier in the year. I can't remember when they were. You can go find them. They were great. In the main event, we had Kento Miyahara defeating Yoshitatsu to retain his Triple Crown Championship. This was a very good match, as almost all Miyahara title defenses are. The crowd was super duper hot, as they always are for Miyahara title defenses, especially in Korakuen. Miyahara is excellent, and I don't know how many of you out there watch All Japan or follow All Japan at all, but Miyahara is the ace of All Japan, and is absolutely phenomenal. So this match was well worked. Not a ton of crazy high spots, but Miyahara does very well with what he does. The story was that Yoshitatsu came to play. He was very much the underdog in this match, let's just say. Not as nearly as pushed as Miyahara. So the story was that he came up, he fought really hard, but ultimately Kento is Kento. He's too much. He's the ace. He's the top guy. So he was not to be overcome on this night. Kento Miyahara was ripping off his knees like the motherfucker that he is, because he's awesome. And he won it with his finisher, Stray Jacket Suplex. So, very good match from Miyahara and Yoshitatsu from Korakuen a few days ago on the 30th. A couple of folks came out to possibly challenge for Miyahara's title afterwards. Zeus was one of them, and from what I read on Twitter, he is the more likely candidate to follow. So look for a Zeus Miyahara rematch later on. They had an excellent bout last year, which I sadly have not seen. But a lot of folks gave it 4.5 or 3/4 stars, so I can only assume it was excellent. And so I would only assume that their next match would be excellent as well. So that's us dropping by in All Japan. So here's the deal with All Japan. I really like the top of their card. As you can tell by how much I liked their semi-main and main event match of their Korakuen shows. But, their junior... There's a lot of All Japan that I don't like. And so there's a reason why I only cover, the top 2 or 3 matches of their Korakuen shows once a month. Let's put it that way with All Japan. But the top folks are very good. Miyahara, Ishikawa, Suwama, Zeus is good. Iwamoto. I like Iwamoto a lot. Is that it? Oh, no. Jake Lee and Nomura are good. That might be it, though, for All Japan. Anyway. We're going to move on to Stardom, who had a couple shows in Osaka on 6/22. We are going to focus on the night show here. And first on that one, Zaya Brookside over Leo Onizaki. This match was fine. It was the opener Japanese show, so its goal, isn't necessarily exactly to be the show stealer. Zaya Brookside got about 90% of the offense and got the win with an iconoclasm. So, it was fine. It was there. Brookside got the win. Moving on, we had Oedo Tai defeating Stars in a 6-woman match. This was a good match. It built well. There were tons of near falls. And the intensity, like usual in Stardom, was very, very high. And near falls get over pretty well, usually. So, also another fun undercard match. Then we move to more of, the bigger matches. We had B. Priestley and AZM dropping a match to Hazuki and Natsuko Tora of Oedo Tai. This was a really good match. B. Priestley, for those of you that don't know, is the top champion in Stardom right now. She is the holder of the red belt. So this match was awesome. Tons of action from the get-go. They got heat on AZM. The heels did, Hazuki and Tora. And there wasn't even necessarily a huge hot tag to Priestley. But once she came in, it was kind of one of those things where, quote-unquote, all hell broke loose. And there were a lot of folks in and out. So, ended up being one of those kind of matches. But the heels did get the win. But AZM was pinned, not Priestley. Where in Japan, that's the big thing. If Priestley had gotten pinned, I'm sure whomever had pinned her would have gotten a title opportunity, as a certain Vince McMahon would say, in the future. Okay, next in the semi-main, we had Toni Storm, for those of you that don't know, teamed with Arisa Saki and Mayu Iwatani, defeating Konami, Death, Jungle Kioni, and Zoe Lucas in this 4-on-4 match. This match was really fun. I don't think I'd say match of the night. You know what? Maybe I would say match of the night for me. I really enjoyed this 8-person tag. This was awesome. This was really exactly what you'd want out of a semi-main event 8-man tag, where it's really not focused on story. It's just 8 people trying to have a cool match. So it was a ton of fun in that way. I really enjoyed it. Folks were in and out all the time. Lots of different things happening. One of the things was Zoe fucking Lucas has improved so much since I last seen her. Like, I don't think I've seen her in 3-4 months. But, like, in that short amount of time, she's improved so much. Like, I saw her at Rev Pro, and she was like, I don't know, like, she just came across as, like, kind of green, not really crisp, like, just needs reps. Not that she was bad, she was just newer to the business and needed reps. But now it's just like, fuck! Her kicks are crisp. Looks like she's killing mofos. It's like, Jesus, how did this happen so quickly? Because I swear to God, it was like March, and I'm like, she needs a lot of work. And here we are in motherfucking July. I'm like, Jesus. So I feel like she's improved a ton. I really believe it's these Stardom tours she's taking. Because I know Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter has commented before on how, like, Stardom has, and other Joshi companies, have been really good for some American women wrestlers going over there and really tightening up some of their skills. And Zoe Lucas, who is not an American, looks like it's really paid off for her as well, as I can only imagine, because I can't imagine what else would have happened in the last 4 months that she would have improved this much. So, good for her, like, Jesus. I was able to sneak away and get some water. Moving on to the main event. Toni Storm got the pin there. Over Zoe Lucas, by the way. Toni Storm is the NXT UK Women's Champion. So, wouldn't expect her to do too many jobs over in Stardom. In the main event, we had Stardom's tag team titles on the line. The Goddesses of Stardom titles, as they call them. It was the champions Momo Watanabe and Utami. I always mess up Utami's last name. Utami's just so much easier to say than saying her full name. It's Utami Hayashishida. I have to, like, read it out syllable by syllable. Saying Utami's just so much easier. So, Momo and Utami, it's nice and easy for an English speaker, retain the tag team titles over Hana Kimura and Bobby Tyler. So this was a good match. Ultimately, I think I'd end up putting it as the second best match of the night. I mean, there were only 5 matches on this night, because they had done a show earlier in the afternoon, so they were having a full day already. But this match was good. I thought it peaked well and built well. They definitely saved a lot of their big stuff for the third act of the match. The heat segment of the match, as listeners who continue to listen to me on the B+, will come to soon find out, I am very particular about my heat segments. First of all, I don't know how big a fan I am of like the traditional 3-act wrestling match, where opens up, babyface is doing well, just kind of a normal back and forth match for the first few minutes. Then the heels do something dastardly or something very impactful to take the advantage, and they got the babyface in the ropes. And here in a tag match, they got one of the babyfaces in the ring, getting heat on them, preventing them from getting a tag. And then the hot tag happens, the other babyface comes in and runs wild, as we go in towards the third act, and however they want to do the finish, because the third act is just wide open. So, the heat segments, however, never ever have an excuse to be boring. Okay? Like, there's so many ways for heels to prevent a babyface from making a tag in a non-boring way. And I'm not necessarily saying that what Hana and Bobby did was boring, but it almost was, especially compared to the match that came before it, because it was just a hot 8-woman tag with everything going back and forth. Tons of action everywhere. And we come to this, where there's a couple of long rest hold segments in the heat, and it just feels a bit like a letdown. So, heat segments never need to be boring. If 60% of your heat segment is a chin lock, that's boring. You can be more creative, even within that tight 3-act structure, okay? Like, there's no excuse for that. And I'm not against rest holds as a move. I'm not someone that thinks like they need to be gotten rid of. But goddamn, I've seen rest holds misused and overused so fucking much that if I didn't see a chin lock for the next 5 years, I would be so fucking okay with that. Even if you are going to do a rest hold, just do a rest hold more creative than a fucking chin lock. I've seen far too many chin locks in my life, taking up far too many minutes of matches. Do something else. Please, dear God, to any heel wrestlers that are working, when you're getting heat, in the heat segment of a match, think of something other than a chin lock. Please, dear God. We have seen far too many of those. Even a wrist lock. Anything. Please. That said, I liked this match. I really did. I don't even think that the 2 rest holds in the heat segment were necessarily bad. Just because of like how they were working them and how intense it was. Everything was psychologically sound. But it was a good match. Besides those couple of rest holds that I might have some question marks on. Like I said, Momo and Utami retain in an up and down, very good show.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
This month we are sponsored by Grapple, a fantastic new wrestling app available on iOS and Google Play completely for free, where you can rate all the matches that you watch in WWE, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, all across the world, and we are even getting Australian wrestling involved in the Grapple app rating system as well, starting with PWA Pro Wrestling Australia. Their Green Label event from the other week is up there. The Black Label event, All Eyes on Troy, is up there. And the last 2 years of events, at least, are up on Grapple right now for you to rate so that people can get around our Aussie wrestling and see that we are just as good as anywhere else in the world. Basically, Grapple is a Rotten Tomatoes for wrestling. Now we all get a say. It is the democratization of match rating systems for pro wrestling. It's amazing. So I get a say, you get a say. You can follow me on there at Greg Unchained. You can follow Big Boy Mikey at B+_Big Boy. At Mr. Mysterious is on there. At Danders is on there. At Jay is on there. We're all on there rating the matches that we watch. So follow us. We'll follow you back. Let's build this community and get as many Australian wrestling fans onto the Grapple app as we can. You can download it right now. It has over 30,000 matches on there going back to 1985, 15 promotions around the world. There's so much to do on the Grapple app. It's a great little community, so get around it. It's Grapple, GRAPPL.co, and it's for free on App Store and Google Play. Get around it. Hey everyone, just want to take a second to tell you about one of our new sponsors, OUTBREAK NUTRITION. OUTBREAK NUTRITION are creating supplements for survival, sharper minds, quicker reflexes, all the energy you need to take your performance to the next level, whether that be on the field, in the gym, on the gaming field. That's right, they have specifically designed gaming supplements as well to help you focus on those late night sessions. They even sell coffee, you guys, at OUTBREAK NUTRITION. You can get coffee pods, you can get coffee beans, you can get supplements for the bedroom as well if you want to enhance your performance there. These are performance enhancing supplements for every aspect of your life, specifically designed by gamers, for gamers, to stay fit and healthy in the gym, to stay sharp and focused on the game, and to dominate in all areas of life. So check out OUTBREAKNutrition.com, and for being a listener of our podcast, they will give you 10% off your order when you enter the code B+. That is BPLUS at checkout. So make sure, if you want to stay on top of your game, if you want to take your performance to the next level, OUTBREAKNutrition.com, enter the code B+ at checkout. Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B+ podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/theb+ and subscribe today.
Hopefully we will be covering Stardom more extensively in the future. I was very in and out with them previously, but especially with their 5-star Grand Prix coming up in a couple of months, which is their big round-robin tournament, much like the G1. I want to make sure we have a full coverage on Stardom as that nears, which Australia's own Avery is a part of, which was a very big surprise to me. And this apparently is also her debut for Stardom in the Grand Prix, which is kind of surprising, but hey, good for her. Congrats to Avery. Okay, and that was Stardom's night show in Osaka on June 22nd. We are moving to Sendai Girls Big Show in Nigata from June the 8th, which took almost a whole month to hit tape. Like Jesus. The main event was Suri versus Hashimoto, and I was waiting for this match, no joke, for so fucking long. It took almost a month to hit tape. It didn't hit tape until July 2nd. This fucking happened on June 8th. Broke my heart. But we finally got it. So, not going to go over every match of this show. In the opener, we had Makoto Shindo defeating Manami to win the vacant junior title. This match was very good. It was very basic, but like intentionally very basic. Like, almost, I don't even want to say amateur feel to it, but kinda. So, it was very good. Solid for what it was. The finish didn't seem, like it almost came across as not necessarily planned. Like, it felt like it came out of nowhere. The person who was being pinned, Manami, had like, one of her shoulders looked like it was pretty far off the ground. So, don't know what happened with the finish. And I haven't heard any report on it since, so whether it was planned or not, it's what happened. Shindo is your new junior champion for Sendai Girls. Next, we're going to skip a match over to a 6-woman tag, which was Hikaru Shida, Hayan, and Mei Suruga, defeating Alex Lee, Heidi Katrina, and Kaoru. This match was good. It was fine. It was nothing special. It's a mid-card 6-person tag on a show, so you know exactly what it is there for. But I did want to comment on Hikaru Shida, who has signed with AEW full-time, and she is moving to the States here in a few months. She's working in Japan through All Out, I think, even. Because I think she's not on that show because she's finishing up in Japan. Maybe I'm thinking of Fight for the Fallen. I'm not 100% sure. But she's still finishing up in Japan with where she's at. But once TV starts, I am fairly confident she will be here full time. And as always, she presented herself well. She's a very good pro wrestler. She looked good in this match as well. Shida got the pin, which was good. And also Heidi Katrina looked good as well. She's had a match this past weekend for Women's Wrestling Revolution. I went to go watch it on IWTV, and they had aired it live, but I went to go watch it on demand because I couldn't watch it live. And it was not posted on demand yet. Broke my heart. It's taken them a couple days to get that up. So. And now it's one of those things where it's like it's been a few days and there's so much new wrestling that's happening. Like there's a AAA show going on right now that I'm hopefully going to watch over the next couple days. But like, I don't know if I'm ever going to come around to watching this WWR show. So, we'll see. I'll be kind of sad if I don't. Maybe I'll make a time for it. There's just so much new wrestling all the time. And I want to cover it as much as I can. Because this is Wrestling Landscape. I want to take a view of the whole landscape. Or as much of it as I want to, because this is also a casual podcast. Okay, next, we had Miko Satomura, who is co-owner of Sendai Girls, by the way, teaming with Mika Iwata, defeating Yu and Aja Kong. You hear those four names in a tag match, and it's like, Jesus Christ, I can't wait to watch it. And it was awesome! Because Satomura's awesome, Iwata's awesome, Yu's awesome, and Kong's awesome. Kong's awesome. Pun. So, there's no way this match wasn't going to be killer. And it was killer. So, lots of stiff shots. Aja Kong knows exactly how to play her role perfectly. Even at her older age. And she just always comes across as a fucking killer. Satomura got the pin here. On Aja Kong, by the way. Aja Kong's aura and selling is fantastic. Kong knows exactly what to do. She's so fucking great. God damn. Satomura was able to overcome the bigger Kong, get the pin. I will question this finish after we discuss the main event. But as for right now, it is important to note that Satomura got the pin here, and not her teammate, Mika Iwata. Which makes no sense to me, but we'll get to that. But yes, this match was awesome. If you like stiff shots, and legends, and really solid wrestling, this is the match for you. In the semi-main, we had Millie McKenzie and Charlie Evans, known as Medusa Complex, defending their Sendai Girls Tag Team Championships against Ryo Matsumoto, whom you might know from the second Mae Young Classic. She participated in that. And Matsumoto teamed with Dash. This was an excellent match. Matsumoto and Dash got a lot of the offense against McKenzie and Evans. Well, later on, McKenzie and Evans had the early advantage, but McKenzie especially was, quote-unquote, taking a beating there late in the match. This was very fun, with lots of back and forth, lots of stiff and hard shots. And I really think Evans and McKenzie have improved in Japan as well. Because I know this is mostly an Australian podcast, so I'm going to say this trepidatiously, but I'm going to say it. Last time I saw Charlie Evans, she did not impress me. I thought she was fine. But I watched her in this match, and I'm like, oh my god, her work looks so clean, like everything looks so tight, she looks so intense in this, and I was a lot more impressed with both her performing her offense and her selling. Her timing looked better. Like, I was just so much more impressed with her than when I saw her wrestle for... It was Wrestling Rampage. There we go. In Adelaide a few months ago. Whenever that was. I think it was when she and Kyle Fletcher were both on a show. Because I think Fletcher was back for Unsocial Jordan and Sasha McKenzie's wedding, if I remember correctly. So again, that was the last time I'd seen Charlie Evans. I don't see a ton of Charlie Evans, so I could have just saw her on an off day. You know, maybe I was having a bad day. You ever notice that? Like, sometimes, like, if you're having an off day and you're watching wrestling, you're, like, way more critical of it. maybe that's just me. I don't know. But, like, that happens to me. If I'm having a bad day, then the wrestling I'm watching is probably going to get a half a star less than what I would have given if I was having a good day. So, there's that. Anyway, Mackenzie and Evans looks great. I think being in Japan has done wonders for both of them. And obviously Matsumoto's awesome. Like, she's so fucking great. The finish, though, I thought was a bit odd. So, Mackenzie, one of the champions, barely escaped with their titles. Mackenzie ate a big-time frog splash. And as she was being covered at the 2 count, instead of kicking out, she rolled through and rolled up dash for the pin. And listen, it worked here. It's fine because it's like, oh man, they barely escaped with their titles. It's almost like they got lucky. And they all shook hands afterwards, and the youngins, Mackenzie and Evans, were like, oh, just got out of here. So like, I get that story they're telling. At the same time, maybe I'm being too nitpicky because the story they told made sense, and so I maybe shouldn't worry about this. But like, if you get hit with a big time move, a move that could potentially finish a match, and you're able to just like 2 seconds later roll through and lock in a tight roll up of your own, like, I don't know. It's not as nearly as bad, and I hate this, when there's a superplex, and immediately whoever takes the superplex gets their legs up and hooks their opponent's legs for a double pin. Happened on 205 Live a couple weeks ago. I hate that finish. You just ate a goddamn superplex. Okay, you're not going to get a pin right away. No. So this was better here because at least it was 2 seconds afterwards, and it helped tell the story. And let's be real, it's Japan, where a signature spot is eating a big move and then having an adrenaline burst and showing that fighting spirit, and immediately hitting a big move back or kicking out at 1 or something like that. So I'm far more forgiving of it in Japan just because that's motif often used in Japanese wrestling. Although I don't know if that was necessarily this, but that because it's a motif, it opens up that psychology there to make sense. So I'm probably way overanalyzing this spot. Let's move on to the main event, which was great, by the way. It was Suri and Chihiro Hashimoto in a title versus title match, the Sendai Girls World title and the Diana World title. So Diana's a Joshi promotion. Let me read for you the word-for-word name of their World Championship in English. This is the name of their title. Listen to this. World Women's Pro Wrestling Diana World Title. The word world shows up twice in the name of their world title. That's hilarious to me. I'm just going to call it the Diana World title. So this is a title for title match. Winner would walk out with both championships, which is what title for title means, so I don't know why I was so redundant. But, like I said, this match was awesome. The pace was incredible, especially towards the end. Like, the match was just a little over 18 minutes, but, like, the last must have been, like, it felt like a lot more than this, but I'm trying to be realistic here. The last 5 minutes of that match just felt like go, 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 with each of them pulling off big moves and, like, exhausting moves. Like, they did so much in each, like, I felt so exhausted for them, especially watching that closing stretch. It was so great. Whether they were trading forearms or chops or Suri was dropping Hashimoto with really awesome looking suplexes. It was great. I really, really recommend it a lot. Especially, like I said, the last 5 minutes, that home stretch. Hashimoto took some bumps on her head and neck that looked a little rough. She finished the match, obviously. The way she was acting didn't look anything worse than normal selling or whatever. So, I don't know. And it's not like we get a ton of behind-the-scenes news from Joshi anyway, for us English speakers. So, hope she's okay. Hope it was, it just looked worse than it was, and they were able to work me in that way. I would hope so. But tons of back and forth. Suri, one of the stories here, I think, was Suri taking a beating from the larger opponent in Hashimoto and able to overcome that, and including eating a powerbomb on the outside and coming back from that and still able to fight her way from underneath and get the win. So very good match. Suri is very, very good. Those who know Joshi better than I do, like Alex Cyber Squad on Twitter, you can go follow him. I remember I was talking to him on Twitter because I only watch so much Joshi, and I was like, hey, I was thinking Suri might be my Joshi of the year, but I just wanted your thoughts because you watch so much more Joshi than I do. And he's like, yeah, I think I'd probably say Suri as well. So I view her as probably the best women's wrestler in Japan today. I don't know if that makes her the best women's wrestler in the world. I think that might be going too far, so I won't say that. But Suri is excellent. Hashimoto is excellent. This main event was excellent. Afterwards, Mika Iwata comes out to challenge Suri afterwards. Which, on one level, is awesome, because Iwata's awesome. But why the hell didn't she get the win earlier in her tag match when she teamed with Satomura? If she's going to challenge the double champion after the main event, she should get a pin win earlier in the night. At least she was on the winning team. So I don't know what the hell was going on there. It wouldn't surprise me if there was something else that worked, like they're telling some other story with Satomura and Kong. So I guess on one level I'll have to wait and see. But like, fuck, that made no sense to me when I saw that. I saw her come out and like, why the hell did she not get the pin for her team? Like, her team won, so it's not like she ate the pin, you know. That would be like WWE shit. But it would make no sense to me if you're challenging for the top title. The top 2 titles from 2 different companies, that you wouldn't get the pin win for your team earlier in the night. But that's just me. Anyway, this has been an All Japan episode. I hope you all have enjoyed it. I am so excited to be here on the B Plus podcast.